This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, and we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, the final Monday Night Raw before Money in the Bank this coming Saturday. And we had our final qualifiers and the men and women's side, so we know who is going to be in the matches. No more question marks. We have the full card ready to go, so SmackDown is more of a wrap-up final build show this coming Friday night. And then it's on a Saturday, which should be a really big show. I'm not saying there's going to be big returns. I'm not saying there's going to be huge angles started, but it is a big show. As I've said before, it is the biggest B-level PLE that they have. And there are big consequences that come out of it because of who wins the Money in the Bank briefcases. And traditionally, the men go on overwhelmingly to win. I think it's in the high 80s. For the women, I think it's about somewhere in the 70s in terms of percentage of those who cash in are successful. So it's a big night. It's a big night of who the company feels could be the next champion. It's a sign of who they feel could carry the company at least for a short period of time. And we'll see how that works out. Some of the cash-ins over the years have not exactly worked out well. Look at Baron Corbin. Look at Austin Theory, just to name a couple. Damian Priest obviously had, I think, a cash-in that exceeded expectations. I continue to praise that run that he had with the world title. Seth Rollins seems to be at the forefront of the entire group here, and with good reason. He's got a lot of momentum. He recently turned heel. He's got a couple of new heavies to do his damage, and potentially future of the company, and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, who could you not see them, especially as Paul Heyman mentioned, main eventing WrestleMania in a few years, if not sooner, especially Braun Breaker. I know that Bronson Reed's a big man. I wish nothing but the best for his future, but if you're going to pick one, you do kind of look at Braun Breaker as the next breakout guy from that group. And groups are designed to fail. Groups are designed to implode. Groups are designed to implode with the end goal of creating single stars. So that's what the end goal is of this. And maybe in, say, a year from now, we have Seth Rollins' group start to look like they have cracks. If they do it sooner, I'll be surprised. But that is the ultimate goal, as we all know. So we'll see how that plays out, and predictions are coming this Friday along with the mailbag. So get your questions into mailbag@wwepodcast.com. You can also go ad-free. It's a great time to go ad-free on Spotify or on Patreon at patreon.com/wwepodcast, because you get an ad-free experience and a Discord server that is exclusive to those of you who are patrons of the show, that you can chat with other fans throughout the show, and really at any time. It's a free little chat room, private chat room for you guys. And you can also check us out on Apple and go ad-free there for your Money in the Bank review, preview needs, and beyond. So, but before we get into Monday Night Raw and break down all the segments, I want to just talk about quickly Saturday Night Main Event, where I explicitly kept saying that R-Truth was challenging John Cena for the championship. Somewhere along the way, I missed that was not a title match. That was not a title match, which actually is worse. Well, first of all, I don't know why I assumed it was. Probably because it's a Saturday Night Main Event. R-Truth certainly deserves at least an opportunity once in his life to challenge John Cena for that championship. It's a dream match in terms of his character wanting that match. And if R-Truth is going out, why not make it for the championship? Fans would have been, I think, even more into it than they were. Why it wasn't for the championship, even though we know R-Truth wouldn't have won, doesn't make any sense to me. R-Truth should have duped John Cena into challenging him for the championship, and instead it was a non-title match with John Cena. I don't understand that. So I apologize. I kept saying it was for the championship. I still believe that was a great way for R-Truth to go out against John Cena, main eventing a PLE. And yes, he had a match after that, but that's what he's going to be remembered for at the end here. So, yeah, I totally botched that. I thought it was for the championship. and it's not. So I admit that, but it should have been. So I kind of half stand by that it still should have been, and in my mind it was. So I guess I'll have my own version of reality in my mind. But now I know there's R-Truth chants that have been posted on before the show went on the air last night on Raw. There were fan videos posted to X about the R-Truth movement and R-Truth chants and we want truth and all of that. And I think that'll fade. Okay. Why? Because our society can't pay attention to anything for very long, no matter how serious or how crazy the story is or how much we disagree or even agree with it. Fans can't, and society cannot focus on anything for very long, so that those chants will fade. I don't believe that WWE is going, oh, crap, okay, let's bring him back. Okay, then. It's not going to happen, all right? Now, I do think R-Truth deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. Ron Killings absolutely deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame of WWE for his longevity, his body of work. Okay, fine, he didn't win a ton of championships. He didn't main event WrestleMania. He didn't have a traditional legendary Hall of Fame career, but he did it in a different way. He showed you there's different ways to get in the Hall of Fame, and he achieved that. And there's a lot to be said for his career, his upbringing. I continue to tell you guys, go watch his documentaries on the WWE Network. It's worth a watch to see, his personal side and how he grew up and all that. But yeah, so I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. This is not the last time we've seen R-Truth on WWE television. Okay, at the bare minimum, he will be in the Hall of Fame as an inductee at some point. So there is that. I don't know if it'll be next year, but it'll be, probably in the next 5 years, I would think, in the next 5 years. So if you're an R-Truth fan, it's very possible they bring him back, maybe for a very short stint as a cameo appearance, but more than likely it'll just be for a Hall of Fame induction. So fear not, R-Truth fans. I mean, it does stink, and I know a lot of people don't understand it. I actually try to take emotion out of the business here. I try to take emotion out of it and just understand it from a business perspective. If I'm looking at an asset that isn't providing the company with what it's looking for, which is money, okay, that's just what the company exists for. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. It's a for-profit organization. If an asset that I purchased is no longer in use for me, or I feel it's, even though it may not in reality be, but if I feel that it's not producing at a level that it's being paid at or that it's costing me, you got to get rid of it. I mean, I know that's a soulless, heartless way to look at it, but if you look at it through a purely business lens, WWE probably did the right thing from a business perspective. Now, if you put the heart back into it, you put the passion back into it, the beloved character that R-Truth created, genuine one, then yeah, of course. I mean, I would have kept R-Truth on the roster just in perpetuity, but that's not life. I know that people feel he was owed essentially a lifetime contract to WWE, and he's not. Nobody is. Like, nobody. I don't care how good you are. You are not owed a lifetime contract until you die. You're not entitled to a paycheck from a company until you die. You're just not, unless you work and the company feels you're worth paying. That's the society we live in. That's capitalism, guys. Okay, so for those of you that don't like capitalism, I guess another reason to hate it. But that's what it is. It's as simple as that. And again, you kind of have to look at it through a cold, soulless, just transactional lens. Otherwise, if you put the emotion back into it, that's why people are angry with WWE. But logically, yeah, I mean, the thing is, too, this is how you know that this uproar for truth is not going to be sustained, because it's not like the company was hearing, we want truth chants for months and months and months, and suddenly there's this organic support that pushes R-Truth to the main event. This is simply just in reaction to his firing. But if they had kept him off TV for the next 5 years, no one would have been chanting R-Truth at all. No one would have been chanting R-Truth, because there is no real want to see him at the top of the company. And this reaction is simply just in reaction to the company firing him. Not necessarily, oh man, we wanted him as champion. Like, there's a difference. There's a difference. And yeah. So, all right, let's get to Monday Night Raw. Let's see here. Let's start right at the top of the show. And we had this from Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the BOK Center. Or is it Bach Center? I'm not sure. Probably pronounced Bach, but Be Okay Center. I guess I'll be okay. We'll see. All right, so Cole and McAfee spoke from the broadcast table, and Punk comes out, introduced by Alicia Taylor, and we have Cole said he didn't think on commentary, he didn't think he looked bad for a 60-year-old, and what was Cole wearing? He was wearing an Oklahoma City Thunder, I think, or rather, was it a Pacers? No, a Pacers jersey, because the Knicks lost to the Pacers. If you're a basketball fan, Knicks lose to Pacers in 6. Cole's a Pacers fan, so Cole was wearing a Pacers jersey, and yes, all 6.5 ounces of muscle was on display for Cole. I'm not hammering him. It's just funny to kind of see him in that jersey. But we have, let's see here, Punk say that he heard a little bit of thunder. He told fans to watch their NBA team all they wanted, but to make sure they watch Raw and SmackDown, and said he's won Money in the Bank twice and successfully cashed in both times. He said it's the summer of Punk, and it's time that he got gold around his waist. He said there are 2 people on top of the mountain, and one of those people is his friend Jey Uso. He said if they met, it wouldn't be personal, it would be just business. He said the other is John Cena. It might be a little personal between them, and said he's always had Cena's number. And he said, I'm going to pick the bone, you little bee. And Punk said it's all about the money, but it's that time he becomes champion one more time. Not a great promo by Punk. It's fine. Not everyone he does needs to be a home run or a grand slam. But he sent the message, okay, if with Jay, it's just going to be business. With Cena, it's a little more personal if he becomes the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. And yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's playing nice with the baby faces and playing a little rough with the heels, as he should. But the infinitely more interesting case, of course, is John Cena versus CM Punk, one which we have not seen. We saw them interact in the Elimination Chamber, if you remember, but that was not, a full-fledged program, as you know. I mean, it was just kind of like an in-match fun moment, but that was not a, what the fans want from John Cena and CM Punk, and hopefully we get that one more time, and we might. If you remember, Money in the Bank, I think it was 2011, the true summer of Punk. I mean, notice he brought that back, by the way. In 2011, it was the true summer of Punk. We're now fast-forwarding 14 years. Here we are. He's saying it again. Can you imagine 14 years ago that in 14 years he'd be saying the same thing? And John Cena's champion again. So think about that, guys. Now, could John Cena screw CM Punk at Money in the Bank and they start a program? Possible. Because John Cena could then play on the fact that in 2011 at Money in the Bank in Chicago, John Cena was defeated by CM Punk in one of the loudest crowd reactions and one of the best matches in their series that they ever had. I don't know. There's a connection there. They're possibly on a collision course for Money in the Bank. I know John Cena has his own match. I understand that. But it's something to think about and have some fun with in your brain. That perhaps John Cena and CM Punk have a little interaction at the Money in the Bank event, given their history at Money in the Bank. So Sami Zayn comes out, and Punk said he usually hates when certain songs are played, but he's not mad about Zayn's theme interrupting him. And Sami said it was the first time he's heard Punk speak clearly since he returned about his plan to become world champion. Punk said it's time. And it really is. CM Punk, while he was injured for part of his return, with a triceps injury, he has been goldless since he returned in November of 2023 at Survivor Series. So it's kind of weird. I mean, CM Punk has not won a championship. But, I'm ready for it. If you're going to do it, CM Punk's not getting any younger. I mean, if you're going to have a nostalgic run, let's do it. But, okay. Zayn spoke about his own goal of becoming world champion. He said Money in the Bank isn't his path, but it is for Punk, and he told him he must win. Punk looked at the briefcase that were hanging above the ring, and Sami said he knows that Punk is probably thinking about Rollins, Breaker, and Reed, but he shouldn't be. Zayn said he had him and Jay to take care of him, and Punk said that they'll have his back, and so all is well, apparently. But Zayn and Punk noted that Rollins hasn't beaten Punk And Zayn said that's why Punk needs to win the match. He said it's over if Rollins wins the World Championship. We all need you to win tonight. And Zayn said that if Punk were to win the World Championship, they would meet face-to-face in the ring again, and they would have a very different conversation. CM Punk went face-to-face with Zayn and told him that he looked forward to it. They shook hands, and Zayn left. So there is a little bit of tension there between Zayn and Punk, and there are a lot of people believing that Sammy could still be on the way to turn to join Rollins. It's fun to think about. Again, another fun little nugget for your brain to chew on. Do I think it's going to happen if I was to make a choice? Probably not, but it's still possible. They've been teasing, inadvertently or purposefully, the Sami Zayn turn for quite a while now. And the thing is, though, I don't know if the fans are ready for it. Because Sami Zayn, it's not like his support, it's not like the fans are quiet when he comes out. It's not like all of a sudden he needs a jolt. He's doing pretty good. Fans still love him. So I don't know if it's time. And also, when you add that fourth member to Seth Rollins' group, if Sammy joins, that's kind of my maximum. I really wouldn't do that personally. I'd keep it at 3 for a little while. Seth doesn't need another one just yet, but it is on the table of possibilities that Sami Zayn does turn and join Seth. It is, again, in the realm of possibility. So we need to keep that in the back of our minds. So, let's see. We then had Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv versus Ivy Nile in a women's Money in the Bank ladder match qualifier. The match went 10 minutes with Stephanie Vaquer beating Ivy Nile and Liv Morgan, and so she wins. The finish was Morgan hitting a code breaker on Stephanie Vaquer, who then hit her with Oblivion. Ivy Nile tried to steal the pin, but Morgan broke it up. Morgan and Nile fought at ringside, and then Ivy Nile slammed Morgan's head on the ring steps, and then back in the ring, Stephanie Vaquer hit the SVB on Nile and got the victory. So the updated women's Money in the Bank shows Stephanie Vaquer, Naomi, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Alexa Bliss, and Rhea Ripley as the competitors in the women's Money in the Bank briefcase match. So a good win for Stephanie. Was the match a little clunky at times? Yes. Okay, Ivy Nile had a little, missteps here and there, but the crowd has really taken to Stephanie Vaquer, which is great. They seem to be connecting with her quickly, and that's a good thing for her, obviously. I don't know if that means she has a chance to actually win Money in the Bank. I don't think at this time it's really something for her to win. Certainly Rhea Ripley has a real opportunity. Julia has a real opportunity. Roxanne Perez, I think, has a strong opportunity. Alexa Bliss, Alexa needs to do something, I will say that. I'm not making my prediction here and now. That's for Friday. But Alexa Bliss needs to do something other than coming in, having a few matches, and disappearing. I don't know if it's joining the Wyatt Six, as we all thought it was going to happen, or winning Money in the Bank. But Alexa Bliss needs something solid, and she doesn't have anything solid after this match if she loses. She doesn't have a fallback plan B option. So I really hope that Alexa Bliss gets something worthwhile coming out of Money in the Bank and beyond. So we then had Paul Heyman show up to AJ Styles backstage, offered him a handshake, and as usual, Paul Heyman has his underhanded tactics that don't slip by AJ Styles. As Heyman tries to get AJ to focus on Dominic Mysterio and the Intercontinental title, AJ picks up on that quickly and knows that it's a threat. That if he goes after the Money in the Bank, that Seth Rollins and his group essentially will stop him, beat him down, and all the rest. And AJ Styles catches that, as I said, and shuts up Heyman. And it was AJ Styles' birthday, so that's really, I guess, the takeaway. Happy birthday, AJ. How old is AJ? I didn't Google it. He's got to be mid-40s. He's got to be 45, 46. He's up there, as I'm 40, right? But all right. We then have a Rusev promo air video, as always, it seems, and he spoke of his disappointment in Sheamus. He said it was his honor to take him off the field and send him home as the legend that he is. Sheamus then gave a pep talk to Akira Tozawa, and Natalya and Maxine Dupree stood by. Sheamus said, "There's something real about Alpha Academy." He encouraged Dupree and Natalya to form a tag team, saying they both show heart. Natalya said she appreciated it and spoke about how Dupree has impressed her. And then Kathy Kelly asked Sheamus about Rusev. Sheamus said that they go way back, and Rusev was a groomsman at his wedding. He said he's been putting on banger after banger. Lol, that's what she said. Then spoke about how Rusev is picking on men half his size. I'm off track today, guys. I bully bullies, said Sheamus. Well, doesn't that make him a bully? If you're bullying a bully, you're still a bully, because that's what bullies do. They bully people. So I get what he's doing in his brand of justice, but yet he doesn't understand the irony here that he's actually a bully himself. If you're bullying, he would, openly admitting that you're bullying people regardless of what category you put them in. I won't go too deep, but kind of funny. So we then have the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar, take on Finn Balor and JD McDonough. And we had the World Tag Team Champions, New Day, sit on commentary. And before we get to this match, again, this is in the second hour here of Raw already. The New Day, are they ever going to do anything with them? I understand and I totally appreciate and 100% still back, the heel turn from them. I love it. I mean, heel turns that we never thought we'd see, with New Day turning heel, John Cena turning heel. It's all great, and I appreciate it. But what are you doing with the turn? That's the infinitely more important question, is not whether to do it or how it's even done, which are important, but the follow-up, the why. What's the story after? And we don't have one for the New Day. We all thought it was going to be Big E. Big E returning maybe at Rumble as a surprise entrant, coming out to screw them at WrestleMania. Nope. Big E just sits his ass on the pre-show. And again, it sounds like I'm blaming him. I'm not. Neck injuries are as serious as it gets. And if he's not actually ready to get in the ring, then he's not actually ready to get in the ring. Maybe ever. And I 100% support his health. You don't want to question that until he's 100% certain, if he even wants to get back in the ring, that it's all good. But why even tease it? If you're not going to do anything with them, don't bring Big E back in. Because that's what everyone expects to happen and wants to happen, is Big E returning to the ring to get his revenge on what was said to him during the heel turn by Woods and Xavier, which is as hot as their heel turn ever was, like 4 months ago. And now it's like they're still bad guys and they're still mainstays in the company and have a long career, but the heat is really worn off, sadly. I just want them to do something with the heel turn. And again, if it's not Big E, which is a womp womp, then think of something else that is worth the turn here, other than just to turn them. So, again, the War Raiders take on Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Match goes 11 minutes, with JD and Finn beating the War Raiders, thanks to Perez, and then a coup de grace. The referee ejected the New Day for standing up, and let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we then have a Becky Lynch promo airing. She said Valkyria doesn't know what greatness is, and therefore she'll never achieve it. Lynch said if she loses and can't challenge for the Women's Intercontinental title again, it would be the worst thing for Valkyria, because Lynch is the best thing to ever happen to her. And then we had another graphic. Oh, well, here you go. I didn't even see this on Raw, where the Money in the Bank cash-in rate is 100% for the women. I actually thought it was lower. I am totally wrong. I take my words back. The women have 100%. The men have 76%. So I'm glad that was clarified. I'm sure somebody in the comments already clarified before they heard me clarify myself. But okay, good to know. The women are a 100% success rate, while the men are 3/4 of the way there. Got it. So then we had Stephanie Vaquer Interviewed by Kathy Kelly backstage, Rhea Ripley shows up and offered a handshake to Stephanie Vaquer, while Ripley said she'd see her Sunday. So Valkyria said Lynch, after she comes out here, Valkyria makes her entrance. So Lyra said Lynch had brave words from backstage and then called her out. Lynch comes out and she tried to speak once she arrived, but Valkyria cut her off and said Lynch had already spoken. And Valkyria said she has changed and she's angry because no one in her life has hurt her the way Lynch did. She said Lynch unlocked the part of her that makes her capable of destroying Lynch. And Becky leaned against the ropes and said Valkyria wanted an excuse to hate her because she wants to replace her. Lynch said no one can replace her. She said she didn't want to hurt Valkyria. She wanted to make her better, but that's all changed now. Lynch said the thing that would hurt Valkyria the worst is raising Lynch's hand. Lynch exited the ring. Valkyria called her back for a fight, and Lynch said she wouldn't fight in Tulsa. And then she left, and that's when Valkyria attacked them on stage and had a brief scuffle. More solid work between these two. Valkyria continues to improve on the mic, and that's what I'm looking for. As a newer talent to the main roster, that's what you're looking for. You shouldn't be looking for, and I'm not telling you how you should or shouldn't look at something, but I wouldn't. I'd recommend you don't look at NXT talent that come up to the main roster as, ready to go. They're just plug and play. Very rarely do you ever have someone that's plug and play. I can only think of what Kevin Owens was one. Sami Zayn was another. Very few are plug and play. A lot of those who are call-ups are work in progress. There's a work in progress, construction sign that comes with everyone coming up to the main roster, and Valkyria was no exception. At first, I remember her being very boring, very bland, very generic, and she has really made a name for herself on the mic. It's amazing what mic work can do. And her and Becky have really good chemistry. It is interesting, the stipulation here of, Valkyria has to raise Becky's hand. That's not the worst stipulation in the world. I mean, if that's the worst she could muster up, she may want to go back to the drawing board, but I get it. It's humiliating. It's humbling. That's what she's going for. Doing things to emotionally damage Valkyria. That's what she's targeting. So it's fine. But I really don't know who's going to win this. So I'll have to analyze and go back to my lab and do some more testing to figure out who I think is going to win. Because there's an argument for both. Okay. We then have, let's see here, World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso and Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman. This match went 9 minutes with Jey and Sami beating Braun and Reed by DQ. That's key, in 9 minutes, because Seth Rollins shows up and hits Jey with a stomp on the floor. After the match, Zayn attacks Rollins, but Reed hit Zayn from behind. Breaker placed Zayn on top of the broadcast table, held him while Reed went up top. CM Punk showed up, slammed a chair across the back of Braun Breaker, and then launched the chair at Reed and put him down. And Punk came in the ring, chased Rollins away, and Rollins stood at ringside and said that, we know where Punk will be later tonight. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of DQ finishes just as a default because I think it's used too much. They could have gone with the winner here. They really could have. I know that they felt maybe there's no good way to book this because they need both teams to win. You have the World Heavyweight Champion on one side. Nonsense. Easy. It's an easy fix. It's an easy book. Braun and Bronson get the victory. End of story. They are the focal points right now. They need momentum. You can't give them a lazy, weak victory, or their opponents a weak victory by DQ. You need these two looking more dominant than they ever have, especially as they join forces. So that's something that I'm a bit disappointed here in the finish. That should be the focal point, and instead they get a lame DQ finish. This is where DQ finish should not have been applicable. I don't mind it, again, just generally. I mean, DQ finishes, there are places for them. There are times for them. This wasn't one of them. That's all. So Liv Morgan entered the Judgment Day clubhouse to speak with Balor, and she brought up Roxanne Perez, the chicken nuggets, the shoulder rubs, interfering in matches while she was gone. And Balor, admitted that, okay, Roxanne came on a little strong, but told Morgan she could trust Dom. And Morgan said it's not Dom she doesn't trust, and just stared at Balor. And Balor said that trust will come in time, and he suggested that they put Perez in Raquel's corner, and Morgan told Balor to babysit Perez. She'd be in Rodriguez's corner. So Dom apologized to Balor. Balor said it's a water under the bridge and patted the Intercontinental title over his shoulder. They're doing a nice job here of continuing to just make you wonder when the turn's coming, because they've been teasing this for a long time now between Dom and Finn. I'm not, if they want to continue it another month or so, like, I'm cool with it. They're doing a fun job of making you think, okay, this is the breaking point. And then the next week it's on water under the bridge, but they'll do little things to go, yeah, with my words, I'm telling you it's okay. But with my actions and body language, I'm showing you otherwise. And that's exactly what Finn did by saying, water under the bridge, man. And then he patted the Intercontinental title. It's great little subtle stuff like that, making you wonder when it's coming. That's got to be the breaking point. This has got to be the breaking point. This was one I'm just along for the ride. It's going to be a fun breakup when it happens. And I fully expect the crowd to side with Dom. I do. And also Liv Morgan playing her role very nicely. Liv Morgan's kind of like, in a way, a bit like Zelina Vega, in that she's got a very real sense to her promos, or very authentic feel to on camera. She just has that, feels like that's really her. So I love the way Morgan delivers her lines and everything. She just feels like she's real, and that's so important when watching wrestling. But don't worry, WWE will be there every step of the way to make sure that you're aware that this is all a work. That's seemingly their goal as of late. Kairi Sane took on Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan at ringside. Kairi beat Raquel in 6.5 minutes after the insane elbow. Morgan did suffer a small cut on her forehead, and so she seems okay. She's got some stitches. I saw a picture of her afterwards. She did get a little, I don't know how it happened, actually. The ring post, I guess, but so it seems like she's okay. A nice little gash on her head. But Morgan, again, seems okay, and that's kind of it. Kairi beats Raquel. So it's good to see Kairi. She's still there. She's still employed to start. So Karrion Kross approaches Sami Zayn while a trainer's icing Zayn's shoulders. Kross acted like he was concerned about Sami, who demanded to know what Kross's obsession with him was all about. And Karrion said it's because Zayn lies to all the fans and himself. And he said he knows Zayn is capable of doing very bad things to people. And Kross told Zayn he's not a good guy. You're a bad guy just like the rest of us. And trying to poison the mind of Sami Zayn. So Karrion Kross, the guy that we all thought was going to get a major push after his pre-WrestleMania promo, has really done nothing. I mean, he's on the air. That's a start. But he's not involved in Money in the Bank, which is kind of perplexing. The WWE did nothing to try to capitalize on his promo that he cut pre-WrestleMania. Nothing. And it's kind of too little too late right now. But maybe it's a start of something with Zayn. I mean, Zayn's not a small minor character on the show, so yeah, that's something to look forward to. Is okay, Karrion Kross is involved here with Sami. What does that mean? Yeah, maybe nothing, but we'll see. All right, a video package error of Jay and Gunther setting up their World Heavyweight Championship match for next Monday night. That's June 9th, not June 7th. I was getting dates mixed up for weeks. So Jay was seated in the locker room when Gunther entered the room and said he was there to talk, and Gunther sat down next to Jay, told him he appreciates all the efforts that Jay puts into being champion, and he conceded he's really trying to be great. He said that Jay thinks with his heart rather than his head, and that's why he'll take the title. Gunther said Zayn needed Jay's help, and now Jay isn't 100%. He said Jay's making it easy, and the party will end in 1 week. He stood up to leave, and Jay stopped him and said 3 letters, 1 word, and he said he'd see Gunther next week. So I know the analysis I'm reading from this website says this was brief and yet really effective hype for next week's title match. I would disagree for the fact that, and I agree from if you're looking at it through Gunther's side of things. I think Gunther more than did enough here to make an effective segment overall. But you have your world heavyweight champion. Your world heavyweight champion, the guy that, you anointed to win the Rumble and then had him beat Gunther convincingly, sadly, disgustingly at WrestleMania. And I say disgustingly, no disrespect to Jay, but just in respect to Gunther. He doesn't talk at all. And maybe it's because of last week's bumbling promo that got a lot of notoriety that he did not do a good job with. And I didn't hammer Jay on that. I said, you can go back and listen, that it's tough to do. Promos are tough, man. Even if you're a seasoned vet, it's tough to do. So it happens, but perhaps they just said, okay, we're just going to do a sit down and Jay's not going to say much except yeet, But it also is a major exposure of his weakness now that you're clearly trying to conceal it. Or, you know what I mean? Like they have him not even say anything to Gunther at all and just say yeet while Gunther does most of the hype and promo for both of them. I mean, Jay is, we all know his weakness. His weakness is the mic. His weakness is the mic. Even when he cuts a halfway decent promo, as I've said, I don't know what he's saying half the time. And it's like, he's out of breath all the time. I don't know why. It's just a nervous tick, or if he's actually out of breath, or if he gets that worked up about having to cut a promo. I don't know, but he's always out of breath. So that doesn't help. It's just, it's okay. I'm not hammering him. I respect that they can even cut promos. It has got to be the hardest part of the whole thing. All right. Main event here. Punk, AJ, El Grande Americano in a triple threat for the Money in the Bank qualifying match. 12 minutes long here with El Grande Americano beating AJ and Punk in a triple threat. He hit the loaded mask on Styles and got the victory. So El Grande Americano wins. After the match, Punk threw a few punches at Breaker until Seth ran out and stopped him. It ended with a couple of spears and a bunch of stomps with his group standing tall. And that was, to me, the most important part of this entire finish was Seth Rollins' group. It wasn't even El Grande Americano, i.e. Chad Gable, winning, because that didn't really do a whole lot for me, I have to say. And the crowd didn't seem to be super into this. They might have already worn out the welcome of the Grande Americano. I mean, maybe the shiny new toy, the nostalgic trip to El Grande Americano, maybe it's over. I don't expect, spoiler alert, I do not expect El Grande Americano to win the Money in the Bank. Absolutely not. He may be at the very bottom of my list and many others with good reason. He at one point was rising higher than he should have. People were angry about the character and it's disrespectful and all the rest. And that wasn't the reason he's losing support, but I think it's just kind of people are seeing that there's not much more to it and they're moving on. I know he's got the plate in his head. That's his gimmick. It's like the version of William Regal's brass knucks, but there's just not much left there. So El Grande Americano, certainly not there to win the belt, or rather win the briefcase on Saturday night, but rather help everyone else look good. And that is an irrefutable, just desirable trait to have as a wrestler, is to help make everyone else look good. I know that in the world of, take what's yours and, you got to be a little selfish. Well, there is something to be said too for guys that are never really going to win anything big, but are kind of your in-house enhancement talent guys that are so good in the ring that they make everyone look good. Anytime that they work with anyone, it's like a night off for them. It's kind of Chad Gable right now. As good as he is, and boy, is he good in the ring. He's going to make the Money in the Bank ladder match a lot of fun in part. So, yeah, but Breaker and Bronson and Seth stand tall to end the show. And that's what we needed. We needed a night like that for Seth because he hasn't had that in a while. You know, for so long, Seth Rollins has been kind of, you know, he last, I think, couple of weeks, he's been getting his ass kicked to end Raw. And that's not how you want to really start off a new group. You know, you want that new group to really feel dominant and get some momentum and get some heat. And he needed a night like last night. He absolutely needed that. And he got it by stomping everyone in sight. Everyone in sight. And that's what was needed for Seth and company. All right, a little bit of extra time here. I'll go through some headlines and news of wrestling here. So Jim Ross recently had surgery, if you didn't know. He was diagnosed with colon cancer, and he had surgery to remove it. And it looks like it was a success. This is according to Wrestling Inc. So credit to them for this article. And former WWE colleague Stone Cold Steve Austin notably offered Ross words of encouragement ahead of it and said on the My World podcast, so did his AEW peer Jeff Jarrett, quote, "Me and Jim's relationship, little rocky here and there, but joining the ad-free family, there are different times that I've gotten to connect with him," Jarrett said. "Of course, at AEW, I got to hang out with him often. We all share the same stories, and me and him have been around the block, him more than myself. He's got a few years on me. Uncle Jim is kind of an appropriate working nickname. I related to so many things that, and in hearing him, it was good to hear. I think it hit a little bit of news about JR not going to retire. I don't know what that means. Jim, I think that was just probably misquoted. So last week, Ross revealed his surgery to be a success. He is now on the road to recovery, though admittedly feeling rugged per a social media post. And as Jarrett alluded to, Ross additionally noted his aim to continue calling AEW pay-per-views, such as AEW All In on July 12th upon recovering. Furthermore, Ross made it clear he does not intend to retire right now, despite his recent health complications. So, good to hear that Jim Ross is feeling better after his surgery, although, you know, colon cancer is no joke. I know at one point he had an issue with skin cancer too. And so, I mean, hey, it happens. Especially as men, the longer we are alive and you get into your 70s, Jim Ross is in his 70s, you have run an exponentially higher risk for all kinds of cancer. At some point, something's coming for all of us. I hate to be a Debbie Downer and be dark tonight or this morning, whenever you're listening, but like, hey, we have to understand Father Time is not going to lose. It will always win. None of us, to use a phrase from Jim Ross, none of us will kick out. We will all get hit with a finisher that we cannot kick out of. It's just a matter of what finish are we going to take? What's the finishing move for us? We don't know. But if you want to use a little bit of humor to look at that through the lens of life and death and the realizing that we are mortal human beings, we are all going to get hit with a finisher that we're not going to get kicked out of or be able to kick out of, and we don't know what that finisher is going to be. So how about that for a little bit of kind of wrestling analogy for death? But great to hear Jim Ross had a successful surgery. Hopefully he's back and in action at AEW's All In July. And I may tune in to hear him. I did hear some of his latest work, and it's hard to hear him because in his heyday, when he was the head of Raw with Jerry the King Lawler in the late 90s, early 2000s, and how good they were, to me, the best of all time, not even a close second. Although I did enjoy Michael Cole and Taz on SmackDown. I really do. I love Taz on commentary. I don't really talk about commentators much, but Taz, I love Taz a lot. I think he's just fantastic on the mic. Cole, I've learned to love to a degree. McAfee, I could, honestly, I could take or leave. I like Wade Barrett. I really do. But anyway, it's tough to hear Jim Ross today, knowing what he used to sound like 25 years ago. And I know that's not a fair standard to hold him to, but it's hard not to when you know how good he used to be and you hear him now and he's a shell of himself. But again, I'm not shaming him or faulting him. It's life. It's time. It's physics. It's biology. Like, it's all the things that none of us can control. I hate hearing him because I know how good he was. And I hear him now and there's glimmers of it, but he's slower on the mic, less energy. And it's just life, man. It's just life. So I don't want anyone thinking, hey, you're making fun of a guy with cancer. No, I'm not. I just, as far as commentary goes, yeah, he's not what he used to be. But I can absolutely appreciate the fact that Jim Ross continues to work. He doesn't want to give up. He doesn't want to retire. Even given his health, given his age, he's like, F it. I'm gonna keep going. I respect the hell out of that. I really do. And I wish nothing but the best for Jim Ross. And here's another, I really don't mean to be sad today, but probably statistically in the next 5 to 10 years, Jim Ross probably won't be with us anymore. I'm not saying he's going to die of cancer tomorrow, but just stats. The average life expectancy of a man in the United States is like upper 70s. 80 maybe. If you get to 90, you're special, right? So odds are Jim Ross is probably not going to be around very long. So you got to really just soak up every moment if you're a Jim Ross fan. So, yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. I don't want to go into too many more headlines. There's nothing crazy going on here, but you can go on and look at all the wrestling sites as we all do sometimes and check out the latest rumors and check out the latest gossip and all that. So that'll do it. I appreciate everybody for listening tonight. I'll be back on Friday with your preview and predictions for Money in the Bank as well as your mailbag. So don't forget to check in on that. Go ad free at patreon.com/WWE podcast or on Apple Podcasts. Click that subscribe button or on Spotify. So that'll do it. I hope everyone enjoys their day. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.